Let's call the meeting to order. If everyone would please rise, remove your hats, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Adjustments to the agenda, Mr. Eastman.
Yes, we have one adjustment to the agenda. We're going to add business item 11, teacher nomination, and so we'll renumber accordingly. That's all the adjustments we have.
So, I'm correct again, we need to have...
Well, the board probably has it on there because Linda probably did it today. Is 11?
It's on.
Okay. But it's new from what's posted.
So do we need to have a vote on whether to adjust it? Because this is what's in front of us, so we're okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I would accept a motion with regard to the meeting minutes from the meeting of December 9th, please.
I make a motion we accept the minutes from December.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please. And opposed? Good. Okay. Report from the board chair. I don't normally have a report. However, tonight I do. I received, you have to bear with me, this is going to take a few minutes. I received a request from a reporter from the Ellsworth American the other day. I'm going to read you the request and my response because I think there's going to be an article this week in the paper, some excerpts from my response are likely to show up in that. So in case, for some reason, the context of my words winds up missing and misconstrues my intent, I want to make clear my response. So, good morning, sir. I'm reaching out to you because I'm writing an article about RSU24's weighted vote system and concerns pertaining to it for next week's paper. I wanted to ask via email for an attribute quote. Do you believe the weighted vote system is the best approach to RSU24 town representation? And if not, what would you prefer? What are your main concerns with it? So this was my response. I'll leave the reporter's name out of it. I'm not sure that's important. You'll see it next week, I guess. I'm a bit uncomfortable providing a one-liner remark on such a complex issue. As board chair, I have a responsibility to the district to fairly represent the board and our larger community in any remarks to the press. And I don't think a single attributable quotation can satisfactorily accomplish that. Frankly, I'm a bit surprised your paper is exploring this issue, which seems intended to only cause further division in our district at a time when it's most important that we find common ground to move forward with providing the best quality education we're able for all of our students. Having said that, I will do my best to explain how we arrived at this point and my own thoughts in response to your inquiry. I welcome you to print this response in its entirety in the editorial section to provide readers with context. If I feel my words are taken out of context and misrepresented such that our district is painted in an unfair light, I'll be forced to speak with your editor and request the inclusion of this letter. If you'd rather write your article without any comments from me, that is clearly your prerogative. The weighted vote system for voting in RSU24 is a result of state statute that requires all school districts to apportion votes according to town populations. When RSU24 was originally formed, there were 3 delegates from Ellsworth, each of whom held a number of votes equal to 1/3 of Ellsworth's population at that time. This was to prevent a single delegate from holding votes greater than any other 4 or 5 towns combined, while still ensuring the citizens of Ellsworth kept their, in quotation marks, one person, one vote representation. Upon Ellsworth's withdrawal, which coincided with those of Hancock and Lemoyne, there no longer existed a situation in which a single town could control the decisions of the entire board. Therefore, there was no need to reapportion votes or to elect additional members from the larger towns and split those delegates' votes. As a member representing one of the smaller communities and a community with very few students, it is sometimes frustrating if you feel your voice is unheard and a vote does not go the way you wish. However, I know that school board members don't run for these positions because they're seeking fame, glory, or money. All our board members have the sincere best interests of students as their foremost concern. We may have different opinions of what is best for students, and that creates a nice diversity on the board. I once heard an expression which I hold as a personal belief, in quotations, if we're all thinking alike, nobody is thinking. Our respective towns may have differences in values or in philosophy with regard to education, but the debate and interchange of ideas most often leads to compromise, and when it does not, I must resign myself to the thought that perhaps I am wrong in my own ideas, or at the least, I am in the minority. It is always the case that it is incumbent upon me to make the best argument I'm able to support my opinion and hope that others agree. If I'm unable to do that, my first recourse ought not to be to tear apart the system that gave me less voting power, because it is important that voters' voices are fairly represented at the table. Those larger communities represent more citizens, more families, and more students. Why should their voice not carry greater weight? All of our communities are governed by boards of select people and hold annual town meetings where issues are decided in the purest form of democracy remaining in the United States. One citizen, one vote. If that system works, as it has for nearly 200 years in many of our towns, it ought to be okay for RSU24. In response to that, I received this. Thank you so much for your input. I will add your commentary, not in its entirety, drawing quotes explaining your position on the matter. The intention of the article is not for division, but to clarify the weighted voting system. Some may perceive votes with more hands raised not going through and wish to know why. The overall matter is a charged topic, and I strive to be objective and follow journalistic principles in my selection of pulled quotes and terms in my coverage of those meetings. That being said, this is my first time covering topics and subjects like this, so if you feel like excuse me, if you feel like I may have conveyed your or others' sentiments in a wrongful way, I sincerely apologize. If you want the entirety of your commentary published for an editorial, I can ask my boss tomorrow if we can include it for this week's paper. This is the last bit, my final reply. While I admit I have reservations as a result of having been misquoted in the past by Ellsworth American reporters, I'm willing to let you exercise your journalistic integrity and write your article with excerpts from my letter. At this point, I'll forego publishing the entirety of my letter, as it may be entirely unnecessary. If I feel further explanation is required to fully clarify how votes are cast, I'll notify you rather than jump over you to your editor to request the publication of the full letter. I appreciate your forthrightness in clarifying your intent with the article, and I hope I have sufficiently answered any questions you have with regard to our weighted votes. In parting, I would re-emphasize that weighted votes are not an arbitrarily selected method, but required by state law, which requires, again in quotations, one person, one vote. This is true in all school districts comprised of more than one municipality. So having read that, I want to tell all of you, first of all, I hope that you're okay with what I wrote in those emails. But to say that if this article comes out this week and you feel as though, any of you feel as though we've been portrayed in an unreasonable or unfair light, let me know, and I will request that the paper publish the entirety of that response, or should you feel you want to frame your own responses, you're certainly more than welcome to include them in next week's paper. I have had a number of times in the past, particularly, well, I've been here doing this quite a long time, and there have been some controversial issues that have arisen in the time I've been a school board member. Consolidation between the towns of Winter Harbor and Gouldsboro, as you can imagine, was controversial. Forming the RSU was controversial. The separation of towns from the RSU, the withdrawal, was controversial. And of course, in the last 5 or 6 years, there have been a number of controversial issues that have come before this board. And there have been a number of times where I personally have had quotations attributed to me in the paper that were not, where someone paraphrased my words. I try very hard to carefully select what I say so that it is clear my intent and the connotation of my words when they appear in the paper. That has not always been the case, and sometimes the meaning of what I've said has been greatly misconstrued. So I wanted you to know, all of you, I believe that is a fair representation of how we feel. I wanted you to be aware that this exchange had taken place and that there will be, or at least I've been told, there will be an article in this week's paper with regard to that. I guess that's all I have to say with regard to that. So unless anybody has anything they want to add to it. Okay. Moving on. Report from the superintendent.
No big report like the last couple of months. I just would draw your attention to the future meetings. I was not able to get to it when Linda was putting this together. January 13th, we will not have a Finance and Budget Committee meeting. First one will be January 28th for that one. And then we do have a Policy Committee meeting on January 14th. That's a Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. following the ad hoc committee meeting at the District Services Facility. And therefore, we are not having the Policy Committee meeting on January 20th. So those are some updates and dates. And that's all I have.
All right, next item on the agenda is public comment. Carla's got it, Linda. Thank you. Thank you, Carla. It's a shame that Linda's going to walk all the way across there just to grab that. All right, we have 3 people that have requested to speak. So first, Tammy Taylor from Mariahville.
Tonight I speak to give those on the board and in the audience a moment of truth rather than misinformation and lies that were created, pressed for, enacted, and injected fear into this district on the violation of the law that protects our transgender students by certain members of the board. I intend to continue speaking out for my fellow Levitic family members to educate and inform the public. Thank you in advance for this chance to speak. Tonight I quote N. David Hubbard, LMHC of Santa Rosa, Florida. Until tonight, I've never heard of RTS, PTSD, and CPTSD, yes, but RTS, no. Even though they are very familiar, readers who know what PTSD and CPTSD are will have a much easier time understanding RTS and its pervasiveness. Intrigued, I decided to investigate and write the speech on religious trauma syndrome. RTS is listed in the DSM-5 as a mental illness, and it often starts to develop when young people questions about religion go unanswered, or parents refer to the Bible to placate their children. Children over the age of 5 can reason and know the Bible doesn't answer all their questions. If it did, there'd be no reason to ask questions. Funny, that is what true believers want, just to accept what you're told, don't engage in an independent thinking. Younger age children may not be able to articulate that adults who refer to the Bible to answer their questions or just discouraging independent thinking. This leads to more severe symptoms as your child becomes an adult, such as suicidal ideation, sleep and eating disorders, nightmares, sexual dysfunction, substance abuse, unemployment, and lack of emotion in interpersonal relationships. Tonight, I will speak on this topic. As my own wife suffers from RTS every moment of every day, from the moment she wakes up till she goes to bed, and since January 2025, whenever she sees any news on media. I shared with her what happened at the last 3 board meetings. She said, that is my life before you. They are spreading James Dobson, focus on the family, and harming the kids in their district. Some people have shared their unsubstantiated views that parents of transgender students are harming their kids by allowing them to be their true, authentic selves. They want you to accept what you're told, not to engage in independent thinking, and they treat you like the children they are raising, using RTS. I want to make sure the public knows that specific members are aiming for the indoctrination of our children. They are recruiting people from far away to force their agenda based on wishes of a failing president. They may be doing it based on their own RTS. I don't know. Knowing this, RTS does not have to escalate. There can be peace within. And finally, the adults in our district can protect the future of all our children from the true danger of religious trauma syndrome.
Thank you. Next up, Tina Porter from Waltham.
I just had a couple of things to say about Tina Porter from Waltham. I just wanted to thank the board members who voted for all children's safety and mental health last month. And I also wanted to thank you for the Pledge of Allegiance. I have over 22 members of veterans in my family, and also currently have a daughter that's deployed, so that means a lot to me. I was just wondering, will there be letters sent out with all the changes from last month? When will these policies be changed, and where are we at with our ranking on education? We've spent a lot of money in the budget this year, and I'm just wondering if you are getting the results that you were looking for, and if not, what is your plan to work on next? And I just skipped a part, I'm very sorry. Where does this leave us with the pronoun usage? Is that going to be part of the policy being changed with Title IX? And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't normally answer questions during public comment.
I know.
So, but I do think, I will say with regard to the policies, I don't think this is going to end up being a controversial debate here, but the question with regard to policies is our policy committee meets 13th or 14th? 14th, I'm sorry, the 14th of this month. They will begin to make draft changes to the policies affected by the resolution adopted and reaffirmed. Those policies, the changes to those policies will be voted on in committee and then ultimately brought before the board for first read, and then a month following that for second read and adoption. So the process will begin in a week and a half. Pronoun usage, I would gather, would be a part of the policy discussion with regard to seeing the changes in education that we want. I'm not going to put her on the spot because I sincerely doubt that she has the information at hand, but we did recently receive a report in Ed Programming Committee tracking our fall test scores versus spring test scores, and found, and actually our spring test scores from last year as compared to fall test scores were extremely encouraging. I'll reiterate, we live in a community, a larger community, that I think, in which I think there are many other forms of learning that aren't effectively measured by test scores. So I think most people in our communities, and I feel comfortable saying the vast majority of the board, don't feel that test scores are a be-all, end-all indicator of our success in improving the quality of education for our students. They are, however, a measure, and they're a measure that is important enough that they publish them in the paper and they make decisions regarding your ability to govern the schools based on them, so we don't take them lightly. And we are encouraged and continue to be encouraged by the trend that we're beginning to see, which I will say as an editorial, again, I think a significant component of that has been the board's effort to raise wages such that we can successfully recruit and retain quality teachers in the classroom, which goes to your question about the budget. A significant part of our budget increase has been salary increases, but we have seen a dramatic decrease in the number of vacant positions in the district. As an example, in my report tonight, I will address the fewest number of vacancies I can ever remember seeing in RSU24. I believe that the board's objective in raising wages to recruit and retain people is having positive results across the board. So I would defend our actions with regard to raising the budget for that reason. And hopefully we'll continue to see the trends across the board, not just the test scores that we feel are indicative of an increasing quality of education. I hope I've addressed most of your questions and answered them maybe for the rest of the audience, even though we don't normally do that. Moving on, our third speaker tonight, and I'm having a little trouble with the reading the last name, but I think it says Russell Linson. Is that correct?
Yeah, you got it.
All right. From Sullivan, thank you.
Could you please adjust the mic so we can hear you?
Oh,
Is that good?
Yes.
Yeah, Russ Linton, Sullivan. So last time we were here, there was a whole room full of people concerned about the presence of trans students at RSU24. I decided to ask around. There are maybe three students who identify as trans at Summer. None play sports. In about a decade, Sumner has had exactly one transgender athlete who voluntarily chose to compete on the team and use bathrooms of their biological sex. The other students don't have a problem with this. In fact, they voted to support their rights. In other words, there is not, nor has ever been, a crisis. So I'm really confused why several board members would decide to spend our tax dollars defending an executive order already scheduled to be heard before state and federal court. So let's talk about the national web of special interest groups currently guiding our tiny rural school board. This network is funded locally by the Maine First Project. Maine First website includes 2 advertisements, a letter from Jack Baldacci indicating his willingness to take these cases to trial, and an advertisement for a school board academy. The School Board for Academic Excellence shares Chicago offices with another special interest group, Truth in Science, who turns out propaganda to fuel hate and division, some of which we've heard at these very meetings. David Hoyt runs that academy. He's also the founder of the Florida Charter School, and that is the ultimate goal. Drain the public coffers, disrupt normal functioning with fabricated crises, declare public school a failure, and force a pay-to-play system only the rich win. Fortunately, our board adheres to a code of ethics and would never agree to this, right? Each board member swears to see that schools have adequate financial support. Adequate financial support for a struggling school does not include frivolous lawsuits. Members are also instructed that they have no legal authority outside the meetings of the RSUB. Yet, a single member arranged to have substitute legal counsel standing by on Zoom prior to an official meeting without notifying the rest of the board. Those $275 an hour attorneys weren't on call after hours based on speculation. Something tipped off Baldacci and his Indiana counterpart that their payday was imminent. This indicates yet another potential violation of the board's oath to refuse to make promises as to how they will vote. Because of these questionable actions, those grifters will soon be joined by legions of lawyers from the Arizona-based Alliance Defending Freedom. This $100 million a year nonprofit lists 85 attorneys on their payroll. Their head legal counsel's annual salary is more than a third of the entire budget of the Maine Human Rights Commission. Lawfare, anybody? Like they have for other RSUs, the ADF, a designated hate group, will offer to pay for this legal debacle, a fake crisis they have trained school board members to manufacture. But the path to turn our local tax dollars into a legal slush fund has already been opened wide. This isn't about protecting kids or any particular
Mr.
ideology.
Linson, I'm sorry I had to cut you off. We have a 3-minute limit, so I'm sorry I had to cut you off. Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, appreciate it. I've got copies of this. I'd like entered into the meeting minutes if that's possible.
Yeah, you can feel free to distribute those to the board members if you like, or if you have.
I didn't have enough, so all we can see.
Then if you could just maybe hand them to Linda, and Linda can email us copies.
Okay.
But yeah, in the past we've allowed audience members to distribute papers, so we'll do that. All right, that fixed. I'm sorry, I didn't realize my mic was on. That wraps up public comment. Next item on the agenda, now we'll get to the business. Adult Ed and or T-Ball. And I know she's here, but I was going to try and answer you if she could.
First, I want to say I'm disappointed I didn't get to give the good news to everybody who was at the meeting last month. I was excited to have this place full, hearing the number of successful stories from adult education. But that's okay, because I'm still ready to tell you that we received accommodations from the State Adult Education Office for meeting all 4 of the state data targets for our program. And last year, we received 3. The one that we didn't receive last year was an increase in size. So this year, we actually saw an increase of enrollment of about 5%, which is pretty big considering our staff does not grow. So I hope as we get to budget season, people will understand why we don't have significant cuts or anything like that, but we want to continue to serve the number of students that we are in this district. And included in there was 40 healthcare certificates, and so those are people who are now trained and ready to go into the workforce. And when we did our spring survey of those people, 29 of them were now working in the healthcare field. So I think in a field that has a lot of need in this area, we're pretty proud of that result. And I'll say that this year we've also already met the number of graduates we had last year. We've already topped that this year with high-set students. So we're looking forward to continuing that growth also. The other data targets that the state looks at are measurable skill gains, which are really things that are either a graduation, earning a graduation high-set or diploma. It can also be earning a certification in what the state has an approved IET, which I think I've talked about in the past, is integrated education and training, which means that there's math and literacy skills built in with the certificate program that people are earning. So we're excited about that. And then I also have, this is timely because last month I would not have had our new catalog, so I'll give those to Linda, and if you want to pick one up on your way out. We're excited about this because we really have made an effort to profile students in here. So there is, the cover is actually student artwork, and then we also have spotlights on several students inside the catalog and have more authentic pictures of both our classes and our graduates and that type of thing. So, and then actually, because I'm going to forget this because I did last. The other, in addition to this, is asking, we have an anonymous donation that has been made to our medical pathways for the last several years, and they would like to continue to support the program. And so I'm asking that we could accept that. It is really dedicated to helping students with things like if they have technology needs, that we can actually purchase laptops that we would continue to own, but we can loan them to students for the duration of the program. It can also help with mileage and supplies, so if students need scrubs or sneakers, stethoscopes, that type of thing. Or if they have issues, we've had some students who don't have insurance and they need immunizations in order to do clinicals, that we can cover those expenses. And then also it can supplement wages, which allows us to, it would be for the medical instructors or the technical expertise coming in, so it does not cover our local funds, but it does allow us to offer the courses at a lower cost to everybody. So whether people are eligible for scholarships through Eastern Maine Development Corporation or Sunrise County, we can just offer it at a lower cost, which is super, and it allows it more accessible to more people.
I make a motion we accept the donation to support the Medical Pathways program.
Seconded.
Oh,
Yeah, it would be $22,000, which is pretty much the same as last year.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the donation?
Thank you.
I say this frequently, but it's never too much. Ander has picked up the work of her predecessors in this program, which has been from its very inception in the 1980s, one of the leaders in state adult ed. It has always been recognized as a top-tier program. She has picked up their work and carried it even further forward. There probably is no single educational program that we have any authority over at all that has a more direct impact for the amount of money that she has to work with than this adult ed program. This is providing people with who were unable to meet their educational goals in the traditional system with an opportunity to earn a high school diploma and to go on to college, and ultimately, should they choose to even attain a graduate degree, having worked through this program, to say nothing of the enrichment programs that are available for all community members. So once again, if you're in the community, you should be proud that we have this program and you should avail yourselves of it. And everybody else, congratulations, you've got a great program. Next up on the agenda, Friends of Acadia Grant, Haley Fenn.
Hi, Haley Fenton, principal of Ella Lewis. In 2023, we received a Friends of Acadia grant for outdoor learning for $10,000, which we used to build an outdoor classroom, renovate our nature trail, start a lending library of outdoor learning resources for the teachers, among some other things. And this fall, they opened up some more funding for anyone who had received the original grant to apply for additional $2,500. So we applied for that for a couple of projects. One is building a butterfly garden in the front kind of corner of our field. Our parking lot is kind of confusing, but in the corner of the fence, there is a memorial to a teacher that worked at Ella Lewis for a long time, but it had really gotten overgrown. We pulled down all of that, the shrubs and all the overgrown stuff, and we've been trying to figure out what to do with that area. Our third grade students do a butterfly garden unit every year through PhD Science, and they design a butterfly and pollinator garden after studying, the different elements that pollinators need to survive. And so they pitched their designs to me, and we selected elements of each of their designs, and so we're going to build the butterfly gardens that they designed in that area and make it, just sort of redesign that sort of memorial space and make it a pollinator garden as well. So the money would go toward that, as well as some hands-on materials, a sandbox and some loose part, like outdoor building construction type stuff for the playground, and add to our lending library hopefully, and then possibly an underwater drone so that we can look at the ocean floor right down the road from us. So those are some things we'd like to use that money for, and I think that if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those, but that was $2,500 from Friends of Acadia.
Haley, did you have a total amount?
$2,500.
I misunderstood, but thank you.
I make a motion that we accept the grant for redesigning the butterfly garden.
Seconded.
Any further discussion?
I do have one question. Is the memorial stone still there?
Yes.
And will it remain there?
Yes, it is still there. We are designing around the stone, but we'd also like to kind of put in a bench or something because it is hard to see it.
Yeah, it's very low.
It's like a footstone. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, hearing no more discussion, all those in favor?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, anonymous donation to Cave Hill. Brenda wasn't able to be here tonight, so Mike's taking this one.
Yes, my pleasure. The Cave Hill students and staff are grateful for a community member who continues to support the school with a generous donation of $10,000 for this current school year. While we have grant and local monies, the donation funds extras for teachers such as curriculum supports, in parentheses, class libraries, projects, and materials, as well as whole school activities to help to build a positive climate through our PBIS work. So I would ask for the board's approval to accept $10,000 for Cave Middle School.
I make a motion that we accept the $10,000 from the anonymous donor for Cave Hill.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, next item, anonymous donation to Sumner. Oh, go ahead. We'll listen to a clap, that's excellent. Next item, anonymous donation to Sumner.
Hi, good evening, everyone. The trustees of the Moose Moss Foundation have issued an anonymous donation in support of our Marine Pathways Initiative at SMHS. This benefits our students in the marine workforce, and we hope that you will accept the donation of $10,000.
I make a motion that we accept the $10,000 to support the Marine Pathways.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Healthy Acadia donation to Sumner, Devin Young.
So we're excited and thankful to share that CMLC has received an $8,000 donation from Healthy Acadia. These funds will be used to help our makerspace and robotics programs. These funds will be used to assist with travel expenses, compensation for entry fees, and related costs to our robotics teams, removing barriers and expanding opportunities for student participation. The gift is made possible by advocacy through State Representative Billy Bob Hockingham for supporting student learning and innovation. We deeply appreciate, and we're asking the board to accept these funds.
I make a motion that we accept the funds to support the robotics program.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? It's well worth clapping. I know there are people who question whether our communities truly support education, but I think all you need to do is sit here and hear just a few, that's just a few of the donations, because we get them all the time, from public and nonprofit organizations and from private donors all the time, tens of thousands of dollars. Our communities care about our kids and the education in this district. Thank you to all the donors and thank you for the presenters. Next, nutrition, full plates, full potential grant approval, Janet Jordan.
Good evening, Janet Jordan, Facilities and Operations Manager. I need to put the glasses on. I'm here because Melinda Hallam, the nutrition director, applied for 3 grants actually from Full Plates, Full Potential. That is a nonprofit, I think they're out of Brunswick, that is dedicated to ending childhood food insecurity by maximizing the use of existing child nutrition programs like ours. If you might have heard of them before because we have gotten grants from them previously, and they were heavily involved with advocating at the state level to get all meals free to children. So that's one of their big things. We got $5,732 from this organization, $1,750 in kitchen equipment grant, $882 in school meals grant, $3,100 in the Oakhurst after school meals grant. The $1,750 for the kitchen equipment grant will be allocated to kitchen equipment at Mountain View and Sumner. Mountain View, we're going to purchase a salad spinner, and at the middle school here, a steam table. And that steam table is going to go upstairs on a daily basis so that those middle school kids can have a hot meal, which is, we're hoping is going to increase participation. And, it's a hot meal, so there's that. The $882 for the school meals grant will be used to purchase 3 additional barcode scanners for here. And that's for both the middle school and the high school, and that allows the students to get through, using their IDs, get through the meal line quicker and purchase their a la carte items. The remaining $3,100 will be used to support our after-school programs across the district. And these funds will be used to purchase small wares and food supplies to support new recipes and taste tests, which I think is great. Each site offers a weekly cooking club, which is also great, where they try new foods and recipes. And this initiative is designed to encourage hands-on culinary experience and give the students opportunities to try new foods. These are grants, not donations.
Motion regarding the accepting the grants.
I make a motion that we accept all of the grants that Janet just listed.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, all right. Next item on the agenda is I'm crying out loud. PBIS high school update. Whitney Crabtree's not able to be here tonight, so Shelley Shildroth will make this presentation. But before we do that, if I could ask the board, let's go down here so we can actually see it and not block the screen. Thank you.
I'm Shelley Shildroth. I'm the curriculum director. I'm glad that Whitney's getting the credit that she deserves to put this video together. But as you know, we are in year 2 of our PBIS cohort district-wide. We are making great progress in all of our schools with clear expectations and recognition of our students who are demonstrating good behavior. And so today I'm highlighting the high school in particular because our PBIS Go Blue assemblies are gaining a lot of attention throughout the state. In fact, Whitney Crabtree, one of our PBIS coaches here at the high school, was asked to present at the statewide PBIS conference. She actually was the first presenter of the whole day and shared this video with over 350 educators from around the state, which was a bit of a surprise to her. She didn't realize there were going to be that many people, but everyone was very impressed. And so I wanted to show you this and be sure that you knew that we are setting the bar, and this video will demonstrate.
I say blue, you say white, blue, white, blue, white. When I say thunder, you say tigers, thunder, tigers, thunder, tigers.
In other districts where they were implementing PBIS is that it seemed to be a top-down decision, and although teachers had input, it was decided what the goals would be. And when we started to roll out PBIS here at Sumner for the high school level, it was automatically inclusive of student opinion, student voice, and teacher voice. So even before it was brought to the students were considered, and I think we've seen the positive result of that since the beginning.
So we started the PBIS work in our English classes. I think part of that was for convenience. We have most of the students anyway, so it was nice to kind of hit all of the people, and it kind of just naturally slides in with what we do. A couple of the prompts that we did, the first one was telling about a time that you felt respected by an adult, and we got a lot of really awesome feedback from those. We actually were able to make some Go Blue awards for staff out of those, out of that feedback that we got from students. And another one we did was describe your ideal school, and the responses that came back on those were really surprising. It ranged from anywhere from adding music to making sure people are kind to each other. There were just a lot of pieces that we didn't expect to be in there.
To be honest, I think some of us were actually quite surprised at some of the survey responses we saw. Some of the things we kind of anticipated, we were really quite glad about, and some of the pieces we, figuratively speaking, had our bubble burst, if you will, about how students felt regarding our school culture. And from there, we kind of realized that we need a lot of work on how everybody feels about our school, right? We have this beautiful new school building. It's a little bit starting to feel like home, but not quite. We have all these new students coming together, and yet our students were kind of overarchingly feeling like there was a lot of improvement that could be made. So we started digging a little bit deeper and decided that we could really use to have a student version of our PBIS team. So the head of that student team is someone who has been extremely involved in our school. She's someone who has a lot of skills in just rallying people together, bringing people together, and uniting people all together. So we asked her if she would be willing to head that team. And with her help, as well as some of our PBIS staff team, we brainstormed other students that would be a good fit. From there, we created a student version of the PBIS team.
What is the Go Blue team?
It's a group of kids from all ages and all different cliques coming together for weekly meetings and talking about their feelings and how they think the PBIS is working throughout the school. And we help with the activities on Go Blue Fridays, like the root beer floats and stuff, and the lemonade bar, and just try to make the student body more comfortable in school.
And when we give out like treats, everyone's thankful and everyone's nice and everyone kind of has conversations. I'm on the Go Blue team, which is like the PBIS committee. I think that like brings, like, since doing the Go Blue assemblies, that definitely brings our school closer.
My role is kind of like the leader, but I feel like everyone has the same amount of opportunities to answer the questions. And so we get questions from the school PBIS team, we answer them, and it helps them have an idea of what the student voice is and how they're going to affect what goes on in the future throughout summer. We help decide what, like, our feelings help decide where the school goes from.
We are students from school, so we all have different perspectives. We also have like diversity in our thing, so it's like everyone has different problems and everyone goes to different classes. So bringing us all together kind of makes us like this big fun committee that like everyone gets to share their stories.
They have played a huge role in really shaping the new path of direction that our school has taken. So they've helped us with creating our monthly Go Blue assemblies and any sort of events we have when it comes to activities or pep rallies, that kind of thing, they've been really involved with. One of the coolest things that they really helped inspire was the Staff Go Blue Awards.
The award goes to a teacher who, though he hasn't been here long, has already made an obvious and lasting impact on our students. He consistently goes above and beyond to make everyone feel welcome, supported, and excited to come to school. Students describe him as someone who is always there to listen, offer help, and create a comfortable classroom environment where everyone feels safe and valued. Whether providing a space to work during study hall, teaching practical life skills like changing oil, or offering reassurance during stressful moments, he shows daily that he truly cares about his students' well-being and success. As one student put it, he's the go, and we couldn't agree more. Congratulations, Mr. Esposito.
We had already had, from the PBIS staff team, we had already had the idea to recognize students for their great behavior and really focus on the positive things that students are already doing. And from that inspired, well, let's do this for the staff as well. And it was kind of neat to see that, well, gosh, the recognition feels really good from all ends. And it was kind of neat to see the students really come together for that.
What a Go Blue Award really is recognizing students and staff for being, for going above and beyond, for all of the pillars that Blue stands for. So be safe, lead, unite, and excel. So all of those things we're recognizing staff and students
A Go
for.
Blue Student Award is an award that you get for showing that you care about your school and showing that you want to try your best and excel in everything that you can, being responsible, being safe, and just setting a good role model for your school. How I feel that I won it, I feel proud for winning it. You know, I try hard, and I just now feel like I'm even bigger of a part in the Sumner family community.
I think the best part about it and the biggest role of it is students have really taken a huge ownership in our school culture and the direction in which we're headed. My experience here, which is almost a full 8 years at this particular school, I would say this is the best our whole school culture has felt since my time here. And it's really took a kind of a 180 even since the beginning of this school year. So student voice is incredibly important to keep going for this.
I will just offer that, and she'll be mad that I'm recognizing, but I will do it anyways. We did PBIS a number of years ago here in the district, and it really sort of fell flat on its face for a variety of reasons. But it was Shelley that actually took PBIS and grabbed it by the horns and said, this is something we need to do as a district. And it's palpable when I look at the middle school, certainly, and at the high school you just saw on a video, and all of the pre-K-5 schools. It's definitely made a difference in our district. So we're blessed, and thank you to Shelley for kicking it off again.
If you didn't happen to catch them, the pie charts on that video that show some pretty significant improvements in, I guess you classify them as quality of life areas for students, well, and for staff as well. That's 1 year into we're in a 3-year cohort, is that correct, Joe? So 1 year in, and we've seen that kind of significant improvement. More importantly, had you walked into this building 2 years ago and spent a few minutes to perceive the climate and the for lack of a better word, the vibe in the building, and then you walked in today, you would see such a perceptible change in the way that teachers and staff interact with each other, the way that they're interacting with students, the way that students are interacting with each other. It is an unbelievable difference in an extremely short period of time in the climate in this building. And again, all those things are going to promote positive growth in all aspects of education. So thank you to Shelley. Thank you to Whitney Crabtree, who has taken such a huge leadership role on this. I'm going to toot her horn for a second. I coached Whitney Crabtree when she was in 8th grade playing basketball. To me, she's always a little bit still 14. To watch this young woman and the growth that I have seen in her watching her go through high school here, and then seeing the work that she's done since she started working in this district and the leader that she's become is not just a testament to her. She's put in a ton of work, but is a testament to the mentors that have helped shape her as an instructor and as a leader in the building. We need more homegrown talent like that, because that is what carries on this culture. So thank you to Whitney, thank you to Shelley. And moving on, next item on the agenda, Policy Committee Report, Mary Coughlin.
I don't know that I like following that really awesome, inspiring video with policies, but I'll do my best.
All right, so the policy meeting was called to order at 5:30 on November 18th, 2025 at DSF. We made a motion to adjust the agenda. We tabled agenda item E. It was a discussion on Title IX implications in light of recent developments to determine next steps. Then we reviewed the following policies to be considered for revisions. We have KCD, public gifts donations to the school. A legal reference was added and cross-references DD and KGA were removed. There was a 3-0 vote to recommend it to the board for approval. And if it's okay for the policies to be considered for revision, if we could do that as a group, if everyone's comfortable with that. We have JLCDA, it's medical marijuana in schools, changes made as recommended by the MSMA, adding paragraphs 2 and 3. And we updated items A1, legal reference was added for Maine Medical Use of Marijuana Act, and cross-references JLCD and KI were added. There was a 3-0 vote to recommend this to the board for approval. Board policy KF-F, facility use form, updates to facility details, kitchen and cafeteria use sections. Estimated cost and additional signature approvals for approval was added. The committee discussed allowing alcohol to be served at events and agreed to bring this matter before the full board for further discussion on if we wanted to leave that verbiage in the policy. So that would be a discussion for the full board. Currently, I believe the policy says that alcohol is permitted, but we also in other policies indicate that alcohol is not permitted on school campus, so we wanted to clarify with the board.
You want to go ahead? I can provide some history to that if anyone cares. When we formed the RSU, obviously we have a number of school districts coming together who all had different policies. In a number of our districts comprised of small towns, the school had historically been, continues to be, a hub for community activity, including things like wedding receptions or reunion parties and things of that nature, and had historically begun, because they were a municipally owned building, had historically allowed the use of alcohol on the premises under certain conditions, insurance riders, approval, prior approval from the Board of Selectmen, I think it was, in those individual communities. We did not feel, at the time, again, this is 2009, 2008, we didn't feel that it would be appropriate to circumvent those traditions and those opportunities that individual towns had had with a building that they had owned. So we said, in places where it has been the norm, we would allow that to continue under the same guidance, under the same requirements and restrictions. And there have been no cases where a new facility had ever requested that. It had only been, and for example, I think that would have been like Ella Lewis and Cave Hill would have been, well, and Hancock and Lemoyne at that time, but that had traditionally allowed that. So that's how we arrived at this point. Beyond that, discussion open for more.
The other question we had regarding that was, I know certain states actually require a certified bartender based on the number of people, and I don't know if we ever got clarification on if there was a cap before you had to have a bartender on site.
The answer I got was it's typically up to the board policy.
Okay. I'm comfortable leaving it in there because I know there is history of those buildings being used, and it would be required approval for alcohol to be brought. There's an application form, so I'm comfortable if everyone else is with leaving it as status quo. Perfect. Right, more of KF, use of RSU facilities. School facilities was defined in paragraph 2, and the priority of usage was added. Item 2 in the these factor section was amended, and then there, quote, there are prohibited on any RSU properties and facility use may be granted, and the following may be requested. And that again mentioned alcohol, but I think we've already addressed that, and that was recommended 3-0 to bring to you for the board. For KF-R, we have building use administrative guidelines. Item 3C, cost incurred by RSU, replace the fee schedule. Item D1 and D2, we wanted to discuss with the full board. after getting some clarifications on regulations for each one, and we made minor grammatical changes. So item D1 is regarding alcohol, which we've talked about, and then D2 is regarding gambling. If any gambling would be done, so I didn't know if we got clarification.
I hate to put you on the spot, Linda, but you're the one that did make the phone call.
It can only be done like through the, DFW has to be done through a partnership like that, and they would come and, do the place of using their license, and then they would then have to donate proceeds if you don't want to do it.
Okay, so the way that it is currently written is compliant and covers that.
The language below the strike through is the proposed language that would adjust or meet the requirements of what Linda has learned for expectations.
I'm going to reiterate or try to reiterate Linda's comments for the record. In order for gambling to occur, correct me if I missed that here, at any of our school sites, it would have to be done in compliance with a previously licensed gambling organization, for example, VFW or American Legion. They would have to make arrangements with the school that would be done under their license, and then they would make a donation to the school for the use of the facilities. So just so that everybody heard that.
Thank you. The next policy is JIH, questioning and searches of students. The BA abbreviation was added for building administrators. Student/parent handbook was changed to school handbooks. We cross-referenced JIH-R. And we, the MSMA removed policy JK and KLG for references, and that was a 3-0 recommendation to bring before the board. We have JIH-R, questioning and searches of students administrative procedure. Again, building administrator replaced to school administrator, and the BA abbreviation was added. The BA may include district administration if appropriate was added, and MSMA removed the cross-reference as previously stated in the other one, and that was another 3-0 recommended vote to bring before the board. The last one for revision is JEA-R, student attendance and absence/tardiness. We made grammatical corrections, and there was discussion regarding pre-K students in section 2B that led to adding the age 5 in reference, just to narrow that down and be more compliant. Sue Layton, I believe, made that recommendation, and that was a 3-0 vote. I thought I did that one. CKD, public gifts/donations to the schools. That's a legal reference was added, and cross-references DD and KGA were removed. It was a 3-0 vote to recommend for the board for approval. So with all of that being said, it's a whole lot of policies that we revised, nothing significantly major to the revisions, and we would be looking for a motion to accept the revisions to the aforementioned policies.
I make a motion we accept the revisions as recommended by the policy committee.
Second.
Motion and second. Just been moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of these proposed revisions? Yeah.
Yeah, did I understand correctly? I would assume we would get a cut of the gambling proceeds, but did I hear you correctly that we get all?
I certainly didn't say that.
But what happens to the proceeds? I mean, the house normally gets, 6%, but we get, well, why don't we talk about gambling?
Situation where we ever allowed gambling on school property. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, I don't remember it. So far we've gotten no cut.
But I mean,
I don't remember that ever happening, but that's exactly what I assumed. Like if they wanted, like say the senior class wanted to raise money for a bingo night, that's considered gambling, and they couldn't do it without a partnership.
Right. Just the reason I ask is if I add up what I think was the accumulated total of the donations that were discussed a little earlier, it's almost $50,000. Now, a decently run gambling operation could net us at least that, like once a month. It's just a thought.
Well, yeah, I think it's safe to say we're probably not going to have a casino at Mountain View anytime soon. If there's no further discussion, no further question, go ahead, Terry.
Just one more comment. I think it would teach our students, I mean, we're trying to develop mathematical capabilities and so forth. That's very important. Just imagine, never mind.
All those in favor of these proposed revisions? All right, opposed? Okay. Next, policies for first read. Go ahead.
Thank you. So we do have three policies for first read. We have policy ECA, video surveillance on school property, EBBD, temperature standards for schools, and JLCDA-E, parent and medical provider request to administer medical marijuana at school. I believe everybody got that in their packet previously. The temperature one, just, I think if anyone has specific questions, that is a state mandated one. There is a lot of discussion, and Mr. Eastman might be more well-versed to answer any questions you have about that after you reviewed it. But it's just maintaining a safe, optimal temperature for our students in our buildings. And then the medical marijuana is obviously in aligned with the policy we just amended. And then video surveillance on school property just kind of outlined where that would be taking place and some structure and guidelines for administration around that. Any questions with those?
I would accept a motion to approve those for first read.
I make a motion that we accept those policies for first read.
Second.
Discussion can take place when we go to second read. All those in favor of accepting these for first read? Opposed? And
Finally, we are asking to repeal IKFF multiple pathways. It was a PBE policy, and the IKF Section 3 policy already reflects what is currently in IKFF, so it was just redundant, and we are asking that we would repeal that policy.
I make a motion that we repeal policy IKFF as the policy committee recommends.
Seconded.
Okay, discussion. I'll offer that this came through ed programming before it made it to policy. As Mary intimated, the multiple pathways was in reference to our old PBE curriculum or program, which no longer exists. Our current IKFF policy addresses graduation requirements and promotion requirements. So this is, it's not as though we are throwing out options for graduation necessarily, but this policy is redundant and not in compliance with current curriculum. So all those in favor, or any further discussion aside from my comment? All those in favor of repealing this policy? Opposed? Excellent. Ed Programming Committee report, Katie Garnett.
Sorry about that. I don't know if that was me, but I think it was. We had our last meeting December 9th. We came to order at 5:30 here at the summer campus. So the first thing that was presented to us was a course called songwriting, with the goal of students gaining musical terminology and composing music. The course is designed to give creative freedom to students and allows them to create and apply knowledge in a meaningful way. This course will also hopefully build community and allow students practice in giving and receiving criticism in a helpful way. This course is intended to bridge gaps and deeply connect students to learning objectives, and the committee voted to approve this course. Then we had a discussion on the plan for health for grades 6 through 8. We had a committee formed to discuss what our plans were, because at that point we did not have teachers. So it has been decided that these classes will be taught in our advisory periods with one lesson completed weekly. Each grade is using a pre-approved book. The names of the books for the grades are as follows. The 6th grade will be covering the emotional and mental health book. The 7th grade will be using activity and nutrition, and 8th grade will be using the violence and injury prevention book. And Healthy Acadia will also be helping supplement with the Catch My Breath program for 7th and 8th grade. It's the anti-vaping program, correct? And we had further discussion about sex ed lessons. They're going to be sent to the committee for prior approval, and they will require a permission slip to be for participation. And planning for next year will include hopefully choosing a new textbook, because it seems as though our teachers are not super impressed with the ones that we're currently using, and they are supplementing them a lot. And then we went over the fall data update. Jeff kind of stole my thunder because he talked about it a little bit, but basically we had a discussion on the spring to fall data, and based on the data that we're seeing, there was not as much of a summer slide that we're seeing, which was interesting to note. And our interventionists are now utilizing data to assess and reassess at-risk students every 6 weeks. I'm going to steal Haley's analogy that she used about making cake. So the way that our interventionists were approaching each student's skill sets was kind of guesswork, and they were trying to guess how much of each ingredient they needed. Shelley and Haley have done some amazing work, and they have come up with a way to use the data that we're gathering to assess what each student is needing for ingredients. So they're being more accurately addressed to their needs. Anyone who is under the 50th percentile is on a plan, and it's being implemented, and they have built time into our PLGs for teachers to discuss and share resources, which is amazing. And it's pretty remarkable to see that most of the students, I don't want to say all because it's presumptuous, but all of the principals that attended said that every student that is in one of these plans is making great progress, and they're making better progress than expected. So I'm going to remain optimistically hopeful that this is a great thing, and hopefully that addresses some of the concerns that you brought up, Tina, about academic performance. They have implemented a really great plan, and so far it seems to be working, so we'll see with our new spring data. And then we had a discussion on the Play Lab. So each of our schools sent a team. The Department of Education sponsored this, and there was Peninsula, Mountain View, and Cave Hill each received $5,000 for attendance, and Ella Lewis sent more staff, so they received $7,000. The money was used to cover all of the subs for the training, and it also left money for the classrooms to equip themselves with materials needed to follow this approach. So also teachers and students are super excited about these additions and what it means for their education. And then we discussed kindergarten through 2nd will be piloting arts and letters, which blends nicely with our current Wit and Wisdom curriculum. 3rd grade had already been piloting this, so that's how we know. And one of the main points that I took away from that is that it's 60 minutes of required time versus 90 minutes with Wit and Wisdom, so it's more feasible for everyone to implement that. And we tabled our discussion for outdoor learning for this month, which will be at our next meeting on the 13th at the DSF at 5:30. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Katie? Go ahead,
I have a
Carl.
question. When you talk about the Play Lab, is that the play-based learning model, and that's only for kindergarten currently?
So we moved to a more play-based learning for the kindergarten, but we are hoping to expand that beyond into older grades because it is, based on science, the best way for kids to learn. So we're hoping to continue to follow that and work on it.
So that means there's no computers or laptops in the kindergarten classroom, correct?
There is no technology in kindergarten currently.
So would this play-based model for kindergarten through 2 also take computer and or technology laptops out of the classrooms up through 2nd grade?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay,
So
thank
it'll
you.
be something we'll probably discuss.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Katie, and also thank you to Shelley and Haley for the work. Katie pointed out, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, by the way. It was actually so remarkable that I questioned the validity of the data, the amount of progress that had been made with some of our most at-risk students as a result of being more effectively able to target instruction to the specific areas of weakness that those students were encountering. As Katie said, I'm going to remain optimistic that this works. Again, it was so shocking, it was difficult for me to believe. But the data's there. We'll hope that the work that the staff and our administrators are putting in continues to pay positive results. Next item on the agenda, Personnel Committee report. And as if you haven't heard my voice enough tonight, we met this evening at 5:30. First item on our agenda was an answer to a question, actually. There was a question as to whether or not when the Cave Hill principal, who some of you may not know is also the principal of Mountain View School, is out of the building at Cave Hill, is there someone else that is in charge of that building? We have, in fact, a teacher leader, and there was a question as to whether or not that position was stipended. And Mike and Chris Alvarado researched that. The answer to the question in both cases is yes. When Brenda is at Mountain View, there is a teacher leader at the Cave Hill School that is a stipended position. Next item on the agenda was a discussion regarding pay and benefit increases in the upcoming school year for nurses. Christine put together, Chris Alvarado put together an updated salary schedule, hourly salary pay schedule for our teachers, which was voted and approved by the committee. Ultimately, obviously the entire board controls the budget, but the committee has approved that. I would point out from my personal knowledge as the husband of a pediatric nurse, the wages that we pay our nurses in the district are considerably below market value for registered pediatric nurses. So the people that are performing those jobs for us, we are getting a steal, practically. Their experience and what we are paying them, we should be thankful that they're willing to come in. Well, it's not that bad. It's not like we're really putting the screws to them, but we ought to be thankful that they are willing to come provide the services they are when they could be getting more money outside than another employer. Third item, administrator vacation days for longevity. This is another of the initiatives intended to recruit and retain quality personnel and to ensure that our employees understand that the board values their contributions and values their expertise. A proposal was made to increase the number of vacation days for administrators who reach 20 years of service in the district from 25 vacation days per year to 30. And the committee voted to support that, again, in light of our attempt to keep quality people. Next item on our agenda was an update on paid family medical leave. For those of you that may not know, in 2023, Governor Mills signed a historic budget that included the creation of paid family and medical leave program, making Maine the 13th state to establish one. It was up in the air exactly how that was going to be administered. There was an option to go with a state plan. There's also an option for employers to go with an insurance company that will coordinate a private plan. The mechanics of this are not completely ironed out yet, and they won't be likely until after, in May, people will be able to apply and payouts will begin. There has been a lot of confusion within state government regarding the legal language that governs this program. We are enrolled in a program. Our employees will be covered come May 1st. If we have employees who are eligible, they will begin to be reimbursed by our private insurer. The rate of pay, again, we're not entirely sure of. That's computed by, I may not have this exactly right, and I've got to write it down. The state computes the mean salary for state workers, I guess, at the end. Then that is a baseline for reimbursement. However, employees can also use their sick time or PTO, whatever you want to call it, to top off so that they can get most or all of their salary back. But we don't have complete answers to that yet because, as I said, the system has not been fully implemented. It won't be until May, and there's still a lot of confusion. Last item on our agenda was an executive session. We went into executive session, and Mike and Chris shared their proposals for administrator salaries in the district, and we reviewed those, and upon exiting executive session, a motion was made, seconded, and approved within committee to extend our administrator contracts by 1 year, which is customary and was recommended by Mr. Eastman, and as well as to approve the salaries recommended. Those will be coming before the board next month, at which point we may have a second executive session if discussion is necessary for approval. And then ultimately, as I said, budget pays those. So. Hiring update. This was the part I alluded to earlier. Sorry for that. Right now, in our entire district, we have a program assistant ed tech 3 position open for adult ed that Ander is working on, for all I know, might have filled at this point. At Cave Hill School, we have a part-time interventionist 1-year position. We have an applicant for that position. At Sumner High School, we have a science teacher opening. We will hopefully be approving a candidate for that position very soon tonight. Sumner Middle School has an opening for a special ed teacher. We have a long-term sub in that position currently. And the district has an opening for a special education administrative assistant, and we have hired somebody for that position. So we currently have 2 vacant positions in the entire district, which to my recollection, is a record. So proud of the work that the board has done and for that matter, the work that the administration has done to make this district a place where people want to work and feel valued. We will next meet, assuming we have, and we generally do in February, assuming we have enough for a meeting, we'll be meeting on February 3rd. Meeting was adjourned. Next item on the board agenda for tonight, new teacher nomination. Mr. Eastman.
Thank you very much. I bring forward the new science teacher for Sumner Memorial High School, Mr. Nathan Dorn. Mr. Dorn holds a master's in marine biology from the University of North Carolina and a bachelor's degree in biology with a minor in natural science from the University of Wisconsin. His academic background is complemented by hands-on experience in scientific research, environmental stewardship, and education. He has taught high school biology, chemistry, and general and physical science, and is eager to bring his knowledge and classroom experience to our students. He offers a strong combination of rigorous scientific training, effective student mentorship, and a genuine passion for education. His professional and volunteer experiences include serving as an environmental steward with AmeriCorps, volunteering with Cape Fear River Watch, working as a teaching assistant at UNC, and holding field-based positions such as aquatics technician with the Utah Division of Wildlife and Natural Resources and aquatic ecology technician with the Illinois Natural History Survey. So he's got a wide range of experiences. His references consistently describe him as a creative, innovative, and highly capable researcher and educator, and is recognized as student-centered as an instructor who prioritizes clarity, curiosity, and inclusivity, and who is skilled at engaging and training students effectively. So I put forward Nathan Dorn as a science teacher at Sumner Memorial High School.
I make a motion, we accept the recommendation.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Excellent. Thank you. Next item, board review of meeting. Let's start over here with Terry tonight.
Ladies first.
All right, Jim.
Ander, thank you for the update. You will continue to amaze me. Thank you, Haley, Brenda, Amy, and Devin and Janet for the great grants that will help our whole district.
I would want to second all the thank yous. I also think this meeting was awesome to hear all the positive things. I think the last couple of meetings they've been kind of pushed aside, so it's really nice to have the focus be on the kid-specific stuff.
I want to thank you for everyone for speaking. All those donations are awesome, and yeah, I like hearing about all this stuff.
I think it can never be said enough what a great job you all do. I'm always amazed and impressed with how you're able to work with. We kind of live in the middle of nowhere with limited resources, but y'all always seem to make something really amazing and spectacular with what you do. So I thank you all for that, and I appreciate the applause. Like, that was kind of nice in this meeting today, so good job. Thank you.
I have my usual list, so I wanted to actually, Jeff, don't be upset, but I'm thanking you for taking the time to respond to the Ellsworth American Reporter in an effort to be transparent with the full board and to try and find common ground and move forward together. I really appreciate that. Congrats, Saunders, as always. Like everyone said, we really appreciate you, everything you do. That program, all of our adult program is amazing, and I always look forward to getting my catalog in the mail, so I'm so glad that I got a sneak peek before I got it. I wanted to thank all the donors that support our programming, everybody that made presentations, I appreciate you. Haley, I love the cake analogy, so I'll continue to steal that and use that. I also wanted to specifically thank Billy Bob for advocating for the robotics program and Devin for pointing that out. The robotics program is a really great program and it's grown tremendously in the last few years, so it's really nice that it's being supported. Thank you and congrats to Whitney for being recognized for all she's done. And I also wanted to thank just the whole PBIS team, but especially Shelley for bringing it back. I think you probably remember when you first brought it back that I was skeptical, and I voiced that again tonight that I was, apprehensive at first, but the way that it's been implemented in our schools has really made a difference, and it's being seen and appreciated across the state apparently. So really thank you for finding a way to implement it correctly.
Everyone has pretty much said everything that I wanted to say, but I did want to point out to Jeff in regards to your comment back to the Ellsworth American. I think it was spot on, and I appreciate you taking that stance. So I appreciate your comment. It was perfect. And thank you for everyone attending.
I would like to, I think it was Whitney Crabtree who produced that video. I would like to see a short video produced every month every month. I think it was the most delightful way to communicate to, at least to this board, the feeling in the school. And it will help us all to be, as Scripture puts it, as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves. Thank you all.
Thank you, Terry. I'll add on just a couple things. I think I've thanked the people that, and everyone else has thanked. Keep your eyes open. Sumner boys basketball team is having a pretty successful season here, and they have some remarkable talent and then some fair coaching, actually. One of them sitting out back now. So keep your eyes open. They're doing some pretty impressive things so far. We'll wish them luck and keep watching. Secondly, I'm going to embarrass somebody a little bit here. It has been a focus of this district. We made an effort to impress upon students and staff, employees, the importance of being a lifelong learner. Mr. Eastman, throughout his leadership as a building administrator and a superintendent, has impressed upon people the importance. We tell students that's what they're supposed to be, right? We impress upon them. That's a what do we call a guiding principle, a core value, being a lifelong learner. Well, one of our building administrators who is raising a young family and is doing an exceptional job in the district has decided to pursue her doctorate of education, and that is an incredible workload. And so, Haley, good luck. Congratulations and thank you for modeling the behavior that we wish our students and the rest of our staff to embody. Thank you very much. Let me see. Future meetings, I'm not going to read them. They're listed on the website. They're listed on the agenda. Last item that we have to deal with is an executive session.
I make a motion, we enter executive session pursuant to NRSA Title I, Section 4056A, for the purpose of discussing a personnel issue.
And we'll be going next door. Okay. So we're going to get up and go next door. Oh, right. Sorry. We've got to vote on that. Sorry. All those in favor of executive session? Opposed? All right. Just to make sure we've got to have a 2/3 majority. We're good. Thank you. We're out of executive session. Thank you, Xavier. Would someone care to make a motion?
I make a motion that we extend Mr. Eastman's contract by 1 year and agree to the salary amount that we discussed for the increase.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? I will say, for the sake of clarity, the 1 year contract extension would take him through the 2030-2031 school year. So, all right. No more discussion. All those in favor? Thank you very much, and thank you, everybody. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn. Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? All right, Terry. All right, everybody have a great week. Drive safely, please, on the way home.